G'day guys, and today I want to share with you some funny old laws that I found on the internet whilst just doing some reading. When we think of the modern nanny state or the modern police state, most people would probably think of Britain, and there are many horrific examples of what the British government and British police force is prioritising and focusing over on the rainy island. But I'm here to let you all down and inform you that Australia, it's not as bad, but it's still pretty bad. So I was speaking to a friend the other day, and she informed me that apparently it's illegal in Australia to drive with your arm hanging out the window. And I thought that was pretty weird because everyone in Australia drives with their arm out the window. That's why so many people get cancer actually, because on long road trips and things, they've got their elbows sitting on the windowsill and they get fried. But no, I looked it up, and here we are on drive.com.au. There is a $298 fine, 3 demerit points, for having a limb protrude from the car. This same limb protrude ticket applies to resting your elbow on the window ledge. So my question is, why does this law even exist? I did some further reading, and apparently it's to stop people from getting hurt. Like, there have been incidents where people have had their arms sticking out the car and someone swerved to avoid something, they've fucking ripped their arm off and metal, shit like that. I read a case about, in the States, someone had their head sticking out the window, and the driver had to swerve to avoid a collision, and the dude got his head cut off by a ground anchoring point of a overhead electrical cable. So that's pretty bad. But I think this is a largely nanny state pointless law. It's like, who the fuck cares? If you're going to do something stupid and you get punished for it, then great, that's your problem. Like, if I, drive along the road and I've got my arm sticking out the window and I try to high-five people as I drive past in the car and I break my arm off, then that's my problem. I don't see why I have to be deterred with a fine to do that. That's so fucking weird. Like, surely it's just common sense that you shouldn't do that. But apparently not. And unfortunately, this is just the beginning of a myriad and extensive list of nanny state rules regarding the road in Australia. So I'll just give you a few more examples. Tooting your horn when you're not using it to sort of warn people is technically the illegal use of a warning device, and that nets you a $298 fine and 3 demerit points. I believe you have 12 demerit points in case it's different in other countries. We have other rules, like if a passenger doesn't do their seatbelt up, that's the driver's fault, and the driver gets hit with a fine. I personally think that's ridiculous. You should look to your own safety. You've got enough things to worry about the road than if other people are ripping their seatbelts off. And honestly, as a whole rule, I don't think seatbelts should be, a law, because it's like, if I get in a car and there's like, hey, do you want to put it on this seatbelt? It could save your life in a crash, or do you not want to wear it? Like, how is that even a choice? And again, if people don't use their seatbelt, get in a crash and get hurt, that's their problem. I don't see why the state has to interfere with that. Reversing your vehicle along a one-way street is a $232 fine in New South Wales, 2 demerit points. So for example, if you turn down the wrong way like I did the other day and you get beeped and you just turn back the other way, reversing, that is totally illegal. Let's keep flicking through here. Oh yes, here we go. In New South Wales, still quoting, it is a $1,556 fine and 9 demerit points to use a radar detector or speed evasion device. These are basically things that tell you where police cars are near, and so you slow down. And it's another $1,556 ticket to own, buy, or sell one. So if you have one just sitting in your garage, that'll smack you with a $1,500 fine. And if you're using it, that's a $1,500 fine. But what's really weird about this is that this fine is more than 3 times the fine for carrying an unlicensed firearm in Australia. According to the Australian Defence Lawyers website, citing statistics from the Judicial Commission of Australia, the average penalty in New South Wales for carrying an unlicensed firearm is $400. And guns have been illegal in Australia for more than 20 years, I think. So that's absolutely insane that if you get, if the copper busts down my door and he found a firearm and a radar detector, I'd get fined more, almost 4 times as much with a radar detector. In Victoria, it is illegal to keep license plates that you are no longer using. If one is found in your possession, it's a $141 fine. You can also not transport more people in the car then you're allowed to. So if it's a 5-seater car, you can't carry 6. You can't throw someone in the boot. Again, if you're dumb enough to do this, you're going to get what's coming to you. I don't see why you need to get deterred with a fine. I guess the idea was they'd rather hit people with fines than get people killed, but honestly, who the fuck cares? You play shitty games, you get shitty prizes. Driving with an animal on your lap is a $397 fine in New South Wales. Riding a bicycle furiously or recklessly is a $66 fine in New South Wales. What the fuck does that even mean? Furiously or recklessly? Well, if you're riding a horse alongside a road in New South Wales or Victoria, you are subject to the road rules. The law says animals being ridden are regarded as vehicles. This means that you have to stay below the 0.05 blood alcohol limit whilst on horseback. That is hilarious. It is illegal for a car to emit offensive noise from a stereo. So you can't play Alex Jones. Who the fuck knows what this refers to, but it's a $150 ticket. Oh, you can drive in bare feet though, so that's cool. In Victoria, if you are parked legally and safely off the road and the engine is still running, you can get a ticket for not being in charge of your motor vehicle or something like that. But a very strange rule that only occurs in New South Wales, you cannot splash a bus passenger with mud after driving through a puddle. This costs you $165. It's totally okay to splash anyone else, but you cannot splash a bus passenger. What the fuck? Where are my tax dollars going, and why are they being spent on bullshit like this? Now I understand they might be like weird old laws that no one really follows. Like I believe I read one time in Britain, taxi drivers legally have to carry hay in the back of their taxi so they can feed them to their horses, but no one listens to that anymore. But still, someone was paid to write that law, and I'm annoyed. So yeah, that's that. I'm not really sure where I was going with this video. I just thought it was so ridiculous I had to report it. There's plenty others to read into if you like. And I hate to dispel the myth that Australia's all, she'll be right and all laid back and stuff. That may be the cultural attitude, but it's certainly not the legal attitude. No, you'll find in Australia we're quite legalistic. We're quite an overbearing state, which is unfortunate that it's not really representative of the culture, but it is what it is, and maybe we'll change that around one day. Mass deregulation of the automotive legal system. That'll be an interesting political platform. So yeah, I guess this is it. Thanks for sticking around, and have a good one. Be careful on those roads now.